Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of the Hot Seat. We're going to be rolling out in just 30 seconds. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. Good evening again, everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of the Hot Seat. I am your hostess with the mostest, P. Koffe Brown. And as you can see, we got a full panel on tonight. You guys can actually go ahead and share from my page to your platform so that all your community can be able to tap into the conversation for tonight. We are getting ready to have a dope conversation. And as you can see, we got a full house on tonight. So first, we want to welcome in our social media platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. Well, we're not on Instagram just yet. We're in Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, and Clubhouse. So welcome in, everybody, to the Hot Seat. I am fired up about the conversation that we're getting ready to have tonight. It's getting ready to be crack-a-lacking tonight. We got a whole bunch of new people to introduce for tonight. My name is P. Koffe Brown here in the great state of Texas by way of Houston, and it is going to be a popping conversation on tonight. So I am going to be introducing you guys to some great guests on tonight. Our topic of discussion is, do we have to lay together to stay together? We're talking about this dating world that we live in now, where everybody says that you got to give up some cookies or give out some sausage or some snack chips, whatever you want to call it, to be able to have a great relationship. Have we crossed over to that? Is it that everybody is having sex? Is everybody having sex in this dating game? Everybody. We're going to talk it out tonight, and we're going to hear from our panelists. We got some interesting takes on the conversation tonight, and you do not want to miss this interactive, intriguing, interesting conversation that's getting ready to pop off. So I will let you meet these wonderful panelists we got in the building on tonight. They're going to introduce themselves in 30 seconds or less to let you know who they are and what's going on with them in their world. So we're going to start off with my great friend, the friend I've had the actual longest out of all our panelists tonight. He's actually my personal coach, and we've been friends for a couple of days, give or take. Don't want to tell all our secrets. People be trying to figure out how young we are and all this kind of stuff. But I got my homeboy in the building, AD Roberts. AD, holla at the people. Let them know who you are.
Yes, this is AD, and Koffe is a wonderful friend of mine, and I am a success coach, and I'm also a certified clinical hypnotherapist. So I get a chance to add a little spice and a little different perspective on a lot of things. So glad to be here.
That is what's up. Next up, we got my homeboy, the bearded one with the Silver Fox Ministries, the Zaddy in the building tonight. Santa Claus himself, my homeboy, Rob Malloy in the building. Rob, introduce yourself.
Hey, what's good? First and foremost, thank you for the opportunity to be on the platform. It's definitely a dope situation. I'm Rob Malloy. First and foremost, I'm a father. I'm an entrepreneur. I actually have a second career in life, which is modeling and acting now after the age of 40. So that's what's going on with me. And again, I appreciate you for letting me be a part of this situation.
That's what's up. Thank you for being here. Now I got my new homegirl in the building, brand new to the platform. Her first time, she's going to get christened tonight. Latricia, go ahead and introduce yourself, love. Let everybody know who you are.
Hello, everybody. I'm really excited about being here. I'm an executive mentor and a chief spiritual officer committed to helping women win in every area of their life, helping them identify that place of power, that sweet spot, and be able to work it to their full advantage so they can have a successful life in business and in ministry if that's what they choose to do. So I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Awesome. Super excited to have you. My home girl, my twin. She a little lighter than me and everything. People don't know we twins and whatnot, but we twins and everything. She my soul sister, my girlfriend, my honey boo boo, my girl. She is my friend forever and for life. Guys, y'all, this is my home girl. To Mitchell, holla at these people.
Hey, how's everybody doing? I'm Tamicha Pratcher. I'm a speaker, author here in Jacksonville, Florida. Author because of P Coffee, speaker, and just kind of aspiring with my nonprofit right now by helping under-resourced and underserved areas with the effects of redlining, and trying to kind of get that up right now. So that's pretty much what I've been doing.
That's what's up. And Mitchell's been my friend for a very, very long time. So next up, we got the troublemaker. You got to have one in every family. If you don't, you ain't got no real family. I'm just saying. My homeboy, my peeps, my two-time international best-selling author on our two-time international best-selling author, Dr. Woods in the building. Doc, holla at these people.
What's good? It's Doc Woods in the building. You know, I'm an entrepreneur. If you ever want a comic book, holla at your boy. YouTube host, relationship coach, the mostest. I'm saying the hostess with the mostest, and I'm handsome. Thank you for having me out. I appreciate it. Let's get it on.
And a troublemaker, obviously. Did he say he was handsome? Okay. Enough is enough. Next. My other homeboy, international best-selling author, 2 times too. He didn't hit it twice. Yeah, Jason. Matter of fact, Jason Williamson hit it twice. Baddest band man in the building on that guitar. Jason, what's good?
How y'all doing? I'm Jason Williams. As Coffee said, I am an author. I'm a musician, businessman, and a minister. Just a jack of all trades, I guess is what you would call it. I'm just glad to be here and ready to jump into this conversation.
Let's get it popping. All right, so next up, I got my buddy who, again, is another international best-selling author and brand new to the family. Not really that new to the family, but he new to the family. My boy CJ Randolph is in the building. CJ, what up? Newlywed in the building.
Yes, ma'am.
What's up, CJ? What is good?
I'm CJ Randolph. I'm a 7th grade science teacher and an 8th grade football, basketball, and track coach here in Houston. I love helping out people, especially younger kids, letting them know the potential that they have and helping them see that so that they can walk in their own responsibility. I'm just happy to be here. Not only am I a teacher, but I'm also a student of life. So hopefully I get to learn a little bit from everybody here and their wisdom, and maybe I can impart some on my own too.
I know that's right. All right, CJ. So we appreciate you being in the building. All right, y'all. So one of my siblings is here. So just don't tell people everything you know about me, Tish. So my sister is in the building. Super excited to have her on. Her first time on the show. Been trying to get on the show for 4 years now. 3.5, 4 years. But whatever. So anyway, my sister is in the building. Lady Rob, holla at these people. Let them know who you are, mama.
Hello, everybody. I'm so happy I finally got on. Oh my God. I'm on the hot seat. Hey. Okay, let me stop. I am a new author this year. I am a pastor in multiple states. I am a attorney as well. So I am the jack of everybody's trade. I am so excited to be on, and I can't wait to jump in. I'm gonna try not to be so biblical tonight, but watch out. I got a little fire in me. Let's go.
She's not really gonna do that, y'all. She's just saying that, but we already had a conversation pre-show. No, we not. No. But she coming in hot, y'all. That's all I can tell y'all. She coming in hot. So let's go ahead and get into this conversation tonight. So listen, do we have to lay together to stay together? I mean, is it true that we got to have sex with people that we date? Is it automatic? Do we have to sleep with everybody we dating? What's really going on in the dating world that we're living in? There's a lot of different things that we're seeing in the dating space that we did not see in times past. So we're going to talk it out. So the first question on the table tonight is, do we have to lay together to stay together? When we're dating, do we have to have sex with the person that we're dating to determine if we can have a long-term relationship with them? Anybody can hop in.
Well, I'll go first.
Get on in that hot seat.
Well, the reason why I'm saying that is because, like I said, of who I am and my background, I would say no. In the world that we live in, most definitely yes. The realities of most people nowadays is premarital sex is a thing. It's not like it was back in the day where everybody's really truly trying to be chaste. I saw something the other day and a girl said, if we can't lay together before we get married, I don't think that's gonna work. And I was just like, hold on. So the women are like that now? Because back in the day, that was no. I'm even if they were lying, they would still tell you out front, no, you gotta wait, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. Now it's just like, oh, we don't care. So in the world that we live in, yes, I think it's just a known thing. But I honestly believe a lot of times it can create more problems than it solves. Because a lot of times we get into relationships, and I may be jumping ahead, but a lot of times we get into relationships with these preconceived notions of what we like and what we know. And if a person can't perform according to our history, not our current, but according to our history, now we're jacked up because you don't do it like Jimmy did it, or you don't do it like Sarah did it. So now I don't know if I like the way you do. But that's just my 2 cents.
Y'all can keep the party rolling. Y'all have to be so cool.
All right, I'll go next. I'm ready.
In there. Let's go.
I'm ready. He said a couple of things. One that I believe in, because I do believe that you should be married. However, I had a BC day. A before Christ day. Okay, so y'all hold on to your seat. Before Christ, I wanted to know that he could put the pipe down. Before Christ. I wanted to know that we would be compatible, not just in far as our education is concerned, as far as our morals and our standards. And I do believe that sex comes with responsibility. And so when you talk about having sex, you need to be responsible in doing so. Yes, I do know I have a 32-year-old who is not married at this time, but what I try to encourage her to understand is who she is. I think it's more about the individual person coming together with the other person and making it cohesive to what is good for the both of them, even before marriage. How do you know that you're compatible with this person? How do you know that you'll last a long time past just the 5 years or the 10 years? I'm going on 25 years married. So it's a ever-changing situation, even in my own marriage. So that's what I feel. I feel like right now, society, because of all different kind of reasons, including to make sure that you don't just look like a woman on the outside or a man on the outside, but you also, okay, y'all don't want to go with me tonight, but you also, between your legs is what you representing on the outside. Let me go. I'm gonna yield the floor.
I'll piggyback off of that, of what you said, and Lady Rob. I honestly, just to kind of marry the two ideas that you all were talking about, I feel like that because women now, especially women now, are a lot more sexually open. And so for a very long time, we were, I would say, suppressed and oppressed sexually. We couldn't really express ourselves. And now it's like just out there. You know what I mean? And so there isn't there's no moral compass anymore when it comes to do we have to lay together to stay together? There's no moral compass with that anymore. It's almost like if you haven't, now you're a weirdo. You know what I mean? So it's like, what you didn't give them none? What? So it's just kind of like it's almost like the adult peer pressure at this point. You have to, what you're dealing with. And I think what scares the hell out of people is the uncertainty of that. If I do hold out for a year or two before we get married and I get into this uncharted territory and it turns out to be utter and complete trash, what am I going to do? And that's kind of like what I think is the driving factor of why people feel that pressure to do that, to so they'll know, so they will have a certainty. And I can see why, but I also, see the other side as well. So I agree with you. There's a lot of different factors that are affecting the decisions, when it comes to, sex in the dating world right now.
All right. So speaking of marriage, as you married that, I married my wife because that is what we both had separately identified after we got divorced. We both went into phases of I am not having sex with nobody other than my wife. Now, in those couple of years, did I have some slip up? I did. But that was me and my own conviction, CJ Randolph, Carl Jermaine Randolph. And that's something that was on my heart because I wanted to know who you were without any of the chemical rush of the physical lust, if we're going to throw it out there. And when it comes to having sex with someone that is not your wife. And so there were definitely some biblical aspects of it, of honoring God and stuff like that. But there was also just with my own experience of what has happened when I did lay with someone that I was dating, that I was blinded to a lot of different things and red flags that going forward with that wisdom, I eventually got to the point where it was like, from the very jump, I'm not doing this. I want to know who you are. I want to know true intimacy without the physical aspect. And then from there, as we build, yes, there's definitely, like you said, the fear of, all right, so I'm married now and and this is what I got to get used to. Well, the truth is, that's the beautiful thing of marriage. As you grow, you change. And if you're just honest with each other, this is what I like, this is what I don't like. You see that with a lot of people, that the marriage sex stops, right? So it was good when you were dating, but then you get married and it's not. What's the difference? So I think what me and my wife are like, let's reverse this. Let's get to know exactly who you are first. And then with the sex part, we'll grow even more with the intimacy. And I can say personally that it has been a wonderful idea for us to do that.
So my real quick question, I guess, to anybody on the panel is that, okay, so we're talking about what CJ said, let's talk about what we like sexually. Do you talk about that beforehand? Because when you start talking about what you like sexually, that leads to all kinds of other stuff. So is that something that you're discussing beforehand, what you physically like, what you don't like, all this kind of stuff? Or are you waiting until you get married to discuss what you like? Because those type of conversations breed all kinds of stuff. So when do you talk about it?
Like, okay, hold on. I got to jump in here real quick.
Okay.
I gotta jump in here. I've been listening patiently. I've been sitting here listening. Okay. First of all, nobody should have to do what they don't want to do. No one should be forced to do anything they don't wish to do. But let's be honest. When you go into a marriage, you need to know all aspects of what you're walking into. If you're marrying somebody because, I would like a woman who would cook. So you go to her house, she makes you a steak, it tastes like boo-boo. So do you want to be with this lady who can't cook? No. So if you want to hang by the chandelier and she's not down for hanging by the chandelier, you don't want to marry her. So I don't want to wait. And you got to think about it. In the 1800s, people were getting married at 14 years old. Now we're getting married 25, 30 years old. So we're waiting a whole nother lifespan before we make this move. So you're telling me I have to spend the rest of my life with something I don't want and expect to be happy? You can't teach some things. You can't teach somebody, I'm saying, certain tricks, certain things. And what if they don't like it? Now you're stuck. And now you're in a sexless marriage. And it just can't happen in that way.
And see, I agree with part of that. I do. That's why my question was like, at what point do you discuss that? At what point do you discuss that? When do you set those boundaries?
As soon as you feel like it. I think there's too much, there's too much saying stigma onto, oh, we need to wait. Oh, if I do it too fast, I'm seen forward. Oh, I'm mannish. I'm not like a lady. I'm not saying you should jump in and be like, hey, what position you like? No, I'm saying you should join when it should be a natural progression. It shouldn't be like, it wouldn't be such a big deal if we didn't make it such a big deal. Like, just because a man says something about sex on the first date doesn't mean he's expecting to have it on the first date. It's conversation, getting to know you. Because me, if I can't have the conversation about sex with you, we're definitely not going to match on any other thing. Because anybody who knows Doc Woods, I'm nasty. So if you can't handle my joke on day 1, you're not going to handle my nasty joke on day 35.
So Latricia, go ahead and hop in, and then Jason Williams is going to hop in, and then I want to hear from AD and Rob.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. This conversation is really good. I want to talk from a perspective of, being single again as an adult woman, having to date. I was dating and I was discovering a lot of different things. Life had changed drastically from the last time I dated. 15 years later, now I'm back in this dating world and trying to figure out all the rules and regulations. And literally there were so many rules. And I say that because, my single friends had perspective. Then those, who were, they were like, no, you should do it this way. You have to have this conversation now. You can just get out here and just try everything. It was so much noise around it. But the problem is that I couldn't listen to what the standards or the norms were of the world, what they were offering up, because it had to be right for me. And so even in, while I was dating as a single woman, there were guys who thought if they took me to dinner, they were entitled to something special, a special dessert afterwards. And it was like, wait a minute, we're not even on it like that. You know what I mean? And I think, like you said, having the conversation well in advance was important, and more so about the standard that I had taken. And I too, I can relate to CJ's point when he was talking about, having that conversation with his wife. Let me just say this. When I was in my season of waiting, in that single again season, meeting different people, I dated because I was not exactly sure the type of man that I wanted, that I would enjoy and appreciate. So those qualities, I knew what I had as my values and my standards. Those did not change. But I was learning more about myself, interacting with these different men in the perspective of, okay, we can have coffee. Okay, we can have dinner. But beyond that, I set the standard. So I couldn't let their desires for me and their expectations of me to lay with them determine how I was going to respond. The answer to me was no. And I don't know you that well. I want to take the time to get to know you first as a friend and develop into something greater. The great thing about it is in that process, the decisions that I was making was based on me and not somebody else. And then I will say, and we'll continue the conversation later. What I will say is I'm grateful for the conversations that I had up front. When I met my husband on a plane going to Atlanta, I had no idea that this man was going to be my husband, that God had preserved him for me and me for him. And when we had this conversation, we could talk about things. We didn't talk about everything at first, but we built up a strong enough friendship so that those conversations were important enough that we could have them in advance. Meaning that I told him when we first started to just develop a friendship, he was like, I just want a best friend I can fall in love with. And from that perspective, I was able to say, you know what, let me just get to know him as a man. And we had that conversation. He was in ministry. I was in ministry. And to me, that guideline, God, and presenting myself before God, I knew what we needed to do. We knew what we needed to do, and we did what was right for us. But we did have those conversations while we were dating. And I'm grateful that I kept the vow to me not to lay with everyone that I was talking to. Because had I done that, I would have disrupted the process of what God wanted. I would have presented to my husband a filthy plate. And nobody is going to serve someone they love a good dish and a meal on a filthy plate. The plate was clean, the pathway was ready for him, and I prepared myself because I set a standard for what I needed, not what the world was saying was necessary. So I'll pause on that.
That's a good one, and I like coming behind that because ultimately, whether or not to lay is 99.9% the woman's place to state whether or not we will or we won't. Very few men can say, "Oh, we're gonna do this tonight," and she gonna say, "Okay," if she doesn't want to. That's not gonna happen. It's definitely 100% the woman's place to state what she wants. And I agree with everything that you said, because the reality of it is, like, I was married, divorced, remarried. And you can be in those situations. You can be in a relationship with someone that you are physically, 100%ly matched. And like CJ said, there's some red flags you will ignore because of the fact that what you're getting kind of, yeah, I could deal with that because over here, we great. And as long as we great over here, from a male perspective, I'll say that. I don't know about women because I'm not a woman, but I know from a male perspective, if that's hitting, trust me, there's a couple of things we can deal with for a little while. But after a while, it's going to get annoying and it's going to be frustrating. And then what you're getting in the bedroom don't matter no more because it's good, but it ain't that good. Then you could be on the other side of the fence, like you've all already stated, that there's a possibility that you don't know, you get into a situation and it's not what you would prefer. That, back to my original statement, the reason why that is because you know what you prefer. If you didn't know, and I'm not saying that, we're all supposed to be abstinent, but the reality is if you didn't know when you got together, if it was two people that had never had it, how would you have a level of understanding of what to do? Trust me, I try to tell my kids I would prefer that they not have sex. Granted, I don't think any of them haven't, but but my preference is that they didn't, because it clouds you. It clouds you a lot. And I'm just speaking from my personal experiences. I really do believe if I had abstained in my earlier years, it would have made it so much different for me in my latter years when I got to somebody I thought was that person. Because in my head, it was, it don't go like this. And sometimes you'll throw away a good person because they don't meet a standard sexually. Not saying that you have to have low standards or you don't have to know what you like and all that other stuff. We only say that because we know what we like. We've been out there. If we hadn't been out there, we would have never known. We would have accepted what we got and would have made that work because it would have been all new. Now, the fact that we do know, that's the reason why we have so many issues. That's the reason why we have to lay together to stay together, because we know something we probably shouldn't know at that particular time. And I'm not trying to be spiritual. I'm not trying to be super deep because I wasn't that one. I'm not going to lie to you. So I'm going to be straight up. But I'm saying it from my personal experience because I would prefer, like my kids. I tell my kids, like I told you, I told my kids, they're in their 20s now. And I would prefer they didn't, because it can definitely keep you twisted. And I'm just ending right there.
And that doesn't make sense to me, real quick. That doesn't make sense.
Hold on. Because I haven't heard from AD or Rob yet. So I want to go ahead and get them in, but I have another question that I want to put on the table. So the next question that's on the table that we're going to talk about, we talk about women having standards when it comes to sexuality, women having apprehensions about, having multiple partners and things like that, and wanting to preserve themselves. Is there an instance where a guy feels the exact same way, where there's a guy men have standards and they want to preserve themselves and they want to kind of refrain from a multiple partner experience in that dating vein? Or do men just look at sexuality in a total different light in comparison to how we look at it from the sexual space in the dating world, AD?
P Coffee, is that, can I just talk about the old question that was on the table?
Go ahead, back to go back to the old question.
Can I just be the heathen in the group just for a moment?
Before the new question. Go ahead, back to the old question.
I just want to be the heathen in the group for a moment, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
I hear all of this, but unfortunately, this is just not, for most people on this planet, it's just not the reality. It's not. It's nowhere remotely close to it. The nature of men and women is insatiable desire and passion. That is the nature, and that is the reality that we face. I think men and women can temper, you know what they got going on, and be a little selective. We don't have to be, totally out there. But, how can you, when you start brokering the idea of being in connection with someone, and intimacy at a physical level is absolutely off the table, most women gonna have a problem. Fortunately, Miss Davis, she found her man on the airplane. Her plate was clean, and he was ready to dine. But for most of us, most men and women, that's just not the reality. Sisters, they ain't trying to hear that. Like, they trying to put that thing on the table right off the rip and say, "What's up? What is it doing?" So for me, I want to see what that thing talking about. I'm not trying to see sit up here and hold your hand for 10 months or a year and all of this kind of stuff, and we just sitting there going to the movies and eating ice cream. It's just, you all on this panel are absolutely wonderful, but you all are the anomaly. You really are. You're not the norm. You're not the standard.
I'm not.
You are the outliers, and I can appreciate that. And being the outliers in equations and statistics, this maybe the audience can gain a little bit of something from us. But I think if we could kind of turn a little bit, and from an advice standpoint, saying giving like some of the beautiful aspects of abstaining or holding off and all of that kind of stuff, or what have been the benefits, and how did you do it? Because that's a major piece, in this variable, So that's my 2 cents with regards to that question. And I'm gonna jump back in because I don't want to turn the corner for you, P Coffee, but it's something I want to twist. I want to twist something on this topic, and I think it'll be really relevant. So I'll wait till after we start talking about the next question.
All right, so Rob, hop in, and then we're going back to Doc because Doc over there on fire. So Rob, hop in.
Yeah, I'm glad he's on fire. Catch fire, Doc. So I'm single. I've been married before. Where I'm at now, obviously, is different where I was a handful of years ago. But when it comes to laying together in order to stay together, the women that I've come in contact with, doctors, judges, attorneys, and I'm just throwing out titles because it doesn't matter. That woman is that woman. Women set the standard, and I just don't know too many, if any at all, that does not want to have those encounters at all. I don't know, and I haven't dated or dating anyone who is celibate or abstaining, and if they are, I like to know why. Like, did you go through a whole phase, and now that you've met me, you don't want me to get to it? or you may think that that'll taint my opinion of you, and it won't. I just want you to keep it 100 though, and so that's the thing with me. And I don't, everybody said what they said. And I really want to move forward, but I think it plays a high part in the hierarchy of needs. If all these women have these high sex drives, right? If all of them, what you doing? Like, what are you doing? And then if you meet somebody, then what you gonna do is what I'm trying to figure out. So, I understand, I understand, this is my non-social media answer, so I'm just gonna always give it to you raw on this broadcast. But I just, I just don't see it. So I feel like women set the standard and men will set the tone, meaning we'll follow suit. And, so that's how that goes for me. And again, I just have to always say that I think it plays a high level, because even if you're in a relationship or go into a marriage and you're not sexually satisfied, I mean, the side pieces and the sneaky links ain't just start. And a lot of times that sneaky link and side piece is somebody that's laying it down, right? It could be the person that's listening and cooking for you and take you out to dinner. It's maybe some mental stimulation that you're not getting at home, but all that is eventually going to turn into some hot, passionate stuff that you're not getting or that you feel like you deserve. Or she's too tired, or he's too tired, or he ain't paying the bills, so I need somebody who can at least handle this for me and then go back home. Sorry I had to do that.
Well, you
all I got, man.
told me you was coming in hot. I mean, you told me you was coming in hot. It's cool.
That's all I got. I'm gonna leave it at that so we can move.
But here's the deal. I think, AD, when you popped in, I didn't hear what I think you heard. I don't think to Mitchell, Lady Rob. I think they said kind of clearly they had relations before. They didn't say they was unrelated before they got married. Them two. Them is my family. They had relations before they got married.
I definitely had relations.
That's my sister. She had relations. And that one is my first cousin on my mama's side. They was coming in hot before they got them husbands.
I had relations. I just want to.
Yeah.
Can I piggyback off of him? Because I think that's real.
What you say? Hold on one second, Lady Rob. What you say now?
Yo,
I can't hear you because you're on mute now. You're talking on mute.
This button, I turned it off, I turned it on, but it's unrealistic. Like we act like this is something brand new. You know what I'm saying? When Master was we were in the slave shacks, we were going behind the barn, and we were doing what we do. In the 50s, it was going to the hill to the makeout session. You know what I'm saying? This is not brand new. Our bodies, this is natural. This is a natural urge. Everybody want to say we're higher beings that should be able to control our bodies, and I want to get to know you. You know if it's good and it's not good. I don't care if it's your first time or your 31st time. You know if it's good, right? You know if he puts it in there and he's like, ooh, and he's like, if you're thinking about your homegirls and getting your nails done, while I'm saying he's doing what he do, it's not good. It's bad. You know what I'm saying? If the homies, if you down there and all of a sudden you're like, man, I want a burger, it's not good. And it doesn't matter how many times you do it. It is a natural urge. So playing like we have to be all goody two-shoes, it doesn't make sense. I'm not saying rush to it. I'm not saying don't get to know each other, but saying that you don't have to connect on all levels. You have to be intellectually, physically, spiritually on level, because what you don't do, somebody down the street is definitely going to do.
Well, I'm about to jump in here because one of the things I think that, and then I hear everything that everybody's saying, and never would I suggest that, those urges don't exist and that you don't want and have those conversations. I desired my husband and he also desired me. But what I'm saying for me, we made a conscious decision based on who we were and who we desire to be before God, to make getting to know each other a priority and to have the disciplines. And for me, I said, if I can discipline myself enough not to not to respond to my husband while we are in this early season of our relationship, getting to know each other and that correspondence. If I can be disciplined not to respond to somebody that I am physically desiring and somebody that I am growing to love, I have that discipline, then I know that as we go through life together, there is no one else that will ever distract me from my husband, because the discipline was already in place. The desires were there. We just made a conscious effort to get to know each other. Had we started and being intimate in the very beginning, I would have missed out on opportunities to get to know parts of who he was. It may have been delayed, and it was important for me to get to know him. And let me tell you why that was important to me. There are a lot of women, and you're right, doctors, lawyers, all of that. I have a whole bunch of them, Rob. I got a whole bunch of women and girlfriends that have all of the titles behind their name. Educated. I'm one of them. And the thing is that we all have had that walk of shame. We are women who are receivers. So when we're intimate with someone, we're receiving and taking to ourselves all of who they are. And it may not seem like that, but it is. So all of the issues and the spirits and the stuff that's going on with him, we're taking that in and accepting that as part of who we are. So we're receiving that into us. Well, what happens eventually? If you lay with enough people, you'll start finding yourself getting lost in all of those experiences and not being able to relate to the right one in an intimate sexual way. Because like he said before, you're comparing, you're thinking, oh, this is not that. I mean, you know what you like because you experience it, and that thing that is satisfying to you, you can look for that. You know what you like. So when we had our conversations, we could talk about it. I had experienced intimacy before. And just by the way, intimacy is not just sex. And I mean, I know that's another conversation, but experiencing intimacy with my husband before we laid down together, it was important to me that he knew who I was and that he knew that who he was getting ready to encounter, the woman he was getting ready to lay with, was someone that he could trust, that had his heart, that I could speak to him and he could speak to me. I was not going to compromise because I had done it before. I wasn't a virgin when I got married. So I know what it was like to be with someone who just wanted me for that moment, but not made me an option when I was making them a priority, because intimacy and sex changed all of that. So I say that I know it sounds hard for people to do, and it is, but I'm saying I minister to women all over the world, and I talk to them about why it is important for them to protect and preserve. No man wants a woman that has been laying all over and sleeping with everybody. So you ask somebody in the city, have you been with my woman? And they say, yes. Are you going to take her home? Is that the woman, Rob, that you're going to say, I want to marry and I want to spend the rest of my life with after you built this foundation of, a prosperous and bountiful life? Probably not. But it is still your choice. And I think that we as women have to go back to saying, if I lay with him and he makes a decision that he doesn't want to be with me, or he needs to try it out before we stay together, then bye. Boy, bye. I'm cool with that. I'm not conditioned to his acceptance of me. You got to hold the standard for yourself. And it's hard, but it can be done. So I'll pause on that.
But you're talking quantity over quality. No one said that you got to go mess with every dude you meet. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying on day one, you say, hey, buy me a steak and I'm going to give you my draws. We're saying that when you meet somebody and you're interested in them and you're dating them seriously, do what you do. You know what I'm saying? And then, so you haven't been with everybody. You just know them on every level. Was it Megan Fox and her husband? They waited until they were married and they're in the middle of a divorce now. Because so it didn't make a difference for them either way.
I think, if I can jump in real quick, I think that you have to know your goals and your aspirations and what you want out of life. I think that's what she's saying. But I hear what you're saying too, because I do think that in some areas, people want to know what they're buying. People want to know what they're receiving. Yes, we do have a body, and I was very, me and my husband, we did, and then we did it twice before we got married. And then we both made a decision to stop. We made that decision because it was important for us to know that as we walked into this relationship, that it meant something more than just sex. That's why we did it. We had the conversations. We had the conversations about which way I like it, which way he like it, what positions we like. We had all of the, and I think all of that is necessary too. I don't think that you should go into a relationship and not know what the expectation is on the other side. If he was freaky, can I be freaky like he wanted? How will I react? How will he react? And those are conversations, like Doc said, that are necessary. There's no way that we can go into a relationship and we don't know what the both of us like. Whether we indulge in it or not, we should have the conversations. I yield the floor.
I got one thing real quick because I think something was addressed to me. I want to make sure that it was very clear. Now, the question was laying together to stay together. So, from my first thought was intimacy, and actually having sex to be together or not at all, meaning no intercourse prior to marriage or even while you're dating. And so, my thoughts was it's very natural to do that. And I'm not condoning, anybody being promiscuous or anything like that. I was just, keeping it 100. And even with the ladies, I mean, I didn't hear anybody say that they did not have sex prior to, getting married or getting engaged. So I would ask if you did not, or, if you feel the way that you felt, why did you still go there though? And so I think that would also be, part of the question. Did you have to lay together to stay together? And what if you didn't? What if you didn't? I understand you built a connection. I understand that, things progressed, but what if you didn't? I mean, that would also be a question for him too. Like, did he need that from you to, like, all right, this caps things off. We good now.
I feel like, real quick, I just want to say that from what I'm hearing, celibacy and abstinence became the choice after a lot of hurt, a lot of bad decisions, a lot of things that happened. And I think that sometimes when it comes to holding out, maybe the second time around or during that singlehood, a lot of that has to do with fear, one. Two, it may have a lot to do with your connection to, God and what you're trying to do. But I think we're also forgetting is that, like you said, we were all kind of learning in the very beginning. And then we kind of started to backtrack and retrace our steps and preserve and do all of that stuff. But it's like AD said, like, now this is an anomaly. You know what I mean? Now we're in a situation where we have women women and men. It's not just women. It's men. They're going to do it. You know what I mean? So what is our advice to the people that, one, do want to hold out, but still keep it real? And what is our advice to the people that didn't hold out, but want to make a change? You know what I mean? So it's like we got these experiences, but we didn't come out the bat like that. We started being abstinent and started to try to, switch some things up after we made a bunch of mistakes, which is okay. But I'm just saying, it's like we can't come from a place of you got to do like this, because now we got to take people's baggage and all their BS, and we got to try to maybe build them up to what, is going to work best for them. So I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of different factors that would cause somebody to hold out, because they're just not coming out the gate like that, especially this day and time in the 30s and 40s.
And unless we're in agreement as a man, I'd be upset. So now you telling me that you went through your phase and now you want me to sit here and wait and hold all mine inside because you went through that phase. That's not my fault. If I'm doing the right thing and I'm being good to you, and plus, first I'm put out there, I don't want a woman who would tell me yes right away anyway. Part of the fun is the chase for a man. I'm saying, I want to be able to court you. I want to get to know you. I want to know that you're worth it. You know what I'm saying? Before you say yes. So from the first date, you're trying to get me to your house, I'm gonna be like, this ain't the one for me. So let's get that out there. We're not just saying
that's what I'm saying. That won't work. that won't work for you.
Yeah.
And because you're so upfront and you know exactly what you want, you can have that conversation and vet that person out immediately. You know what I mean? So in our age range, there's no point in sitting. We don't have to beat around the bush anymore.
And
it sounds like you super straightforward. You can say exactly
before I got married, before me and my wife laid down, she made me wait a year, a whole year. So I'm not saying waiting is a problem, right? But when you talk about going 2-3 years, now as a brother with a high sex drive, I'm looking at you like you tripping, and you gave it to somebody else. I'm out here doing backflips and cartwheels and buying dinners and all this, and this brother said hello and died.
To the movies.
It is on, man. I'm nah.
Now, I think and to your second question, Miss Koffe Brown, yes, there are guys out there that do have that standard. Very rare. I know a couple of them. I am one of them, but that was after my wisdom of doing things. Sometimes from what you do want, you first learn what you don't want, and you keep on going in the same track. That's me. Once again, my personal journey. And so in that aspect, yes, we all have desire. Yes, I wanted to knock down any pretty thing with a nice little something, you know what I'm saying? I wanted. Sometimes I had to lock myself in the room because that's the standard that I had for myself, right? And then even with my wife, yes, we talked about it. Once we got comfortable, I'm a jokester. She joked back a little bit, and then we're like, communication. Really, when it comes down to what everybody's really saying is communication up front. Are you cool with this? All right, I waited a year, baby. Come on now. Something's got to give, right? And that's where there's communication or just the natural progress of things. I think Rob may also hit on it, and it's just going to just be honest, right? Be transparent. Like, what do you do in that waiting point when you have a desire? What did I do? Jacked off, beat the meat, choke the monkey, whatever, right? Just being honest so that I would not cross that boundary with her. I had to handle it myself. All right. And us gentlemen, we know if you get to that point, you know what you like, right? So that was me. I wasn't going out looking for someone to suffice that desire because that was the choice that I chose. That was a conversation that I had with myself. And when I broke the standards, I realized I had consequences. My reason why I did not want to do this and remain absent in dating was because the consequences that I had when I did. Point blank, period. Right. And so that is me. Right. But yeah, I think we're all the underlying thing is communication. And when you're talking to someone, I was very upfront whenever I was dating. We're not doing this. Ladies would be like, oh, cool, heh, 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 and then try, and then be like, nah, like, listen, I was being honest. And some was cool with them. Some was like, I thought you were joking. I'm like, no, because that's what they're used to, right? Which I get, of course. There's a couple of times I had a run in my head, like, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, go ahead, you deserve it. I did that. I made some mistakes, right? And so that's where I came up with it, to where if someone else wasn't gonna handle it, I'm handling it myself, and that's how I control the desire per se, and being remaining abstinent until my wedding day.
Now, you brought up a real good point, because that was another question. Somebody had sent a message on the back because they didn't want to put it inside of the actual chat where it could be seen live on the screen. But a woman did message and say, oftentimes women will play the game of not having sex with him because she's having sex with herself. She's making certain she still gets what she needs without giving it to him for the sake of being hurt, burnt, or feeling like she's just another object for him. So women can play the game if they want to, but a lot of women have a whole bunch of toys and a whole bunch of objects to self-gratify.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know women don't like to talk about it, but I talk about it on my show often. As a matter of fact, I talked about it last month. And on my show, I think that it's important. I'm geared mostly towards women, so my platform is for women, by women. But I think it's very important that we're okay with speaking our truth. I think a lot of times because we grew up even in our homes, even with our parents, some of us, and it was so many secrets. So we just keep it like it's taboo, like it's something that we can't communicate as women. Men are very voiceful. They like, yeah, he just said it. Yeah, I jack off. I do whatever I got to do. But guess what? Women jacking off too. Like that's really the truth. And so they're doing it for a safety reason. When I had my show, over 50% of the women on my show said, I don't trust that he's going to be faithful to me. I don't want to give it to him. I'm not sure that I'm ready for this, or I'm not sure that he'll treat it right. Well, the only way that we know is to jump in. And we don't have to jump in sexually. I think somebody said the key, which is communication. Talk about the fact that you're horny, but you don't have to do it just because you are it. Even I teach this, but I'm not saying that I've never done it. And so I like the fact that we are being transparent tonight, because we're going to help some women on this line for real. We're going to help some men on this line for real that don't have to run and hide and sit up under the covers and hide their face. People don't talk about it in church, but it's real. It's what we're really going through. It's what this world is really facing right now with everything that's going on. And everybody's sex drive is high. So although I teach abstinence, I'm not crazy enough to believe that 90% of the people that I teach that to are abstinent. And so I just thank you for the platform here. But I will say, women, we're doing it because I just said they want to feel safe. They don't feel safe with men, not with their bodies, not with their emotions, not with a lot of things. So we need to open up and communicate better. I yield the floor.
And what happened to the bases? Because when we say lay together, we automatically jump into penetration, coitus, right? Whatever happened to the bases? When like you're a kid, oh, I kissed you. You know what I'm saying? We held hands. I went under the shirt. Why can't there be the steps still? Why does it got to be full wham, bam, thank you, ma'am? Maybe if you slowly moved into it, you know what I'm saying? Because there's that compromise. If I have a high sex drive, but I care about you and I know you're not ready, so, maybe we can do step one, you know what I'm saying? And if I respect you and love you like I say I do, I'm going to be understanding of that. But then you also giving me enough, so I feel, satisfied, like, okay, she did me, I'm getting what I need, and it grows. Why does it got to be straight into it? Like, I remember doing that, like, okay, I'm saying my wife, and I'm calling myself out because I'm a freak, but she suffered me. She made me suffer. Right? She made me wait for the long haul. But I also remember we we kiss here, we touch here, and it wasn't just dying for a year. There was baby steps. What happened to that?
And you're right. That's important that, in any relationship that you're in, that there's affection, there's connection, there's a bond there. Because even before, like you talked about, actual compilation and actual that level of commitment to the relationship as far as the physical expression is concerned. I mean, let's just face it, if you're dealing with somebody and you say, well, I don't want you touching me or whatever. And what if they just a horrible kisser and you're a great kisser and you love kissing, and you find out, you turn around, marry somebody, and you like, this fool, well, I can't do nothing else. This joke can't even, he can't even, I ain't got no moisturizer or nothing from this joke. I'm coming in cold. So you're right. You have to have that bond forged with the person, and while you're connecting to it, it's reality. But I will say this, out in the world of dating, I'll tell you all this, and I'm gonna go back to AD because I know AD wanted to spice things up a bit. So there was this guy I met, AD, interesting dude, older gentleman. God bless his heart. God bless his heart. This was a while back. Oh, God bless him. God's gonna really bless him. The son of God, he was like, I think you're absolutely gorgeous, and all of the crap that sons of God say to women. And so I just kept looking at him. I said, what you want? And he was like, what do you mean? What do I want? I said, you're after something. Because all this extra complimenting and all that, what is it that you're after? You know what? I just think you so amazing and da 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 da. And finally I said, I won't say it on here, but I said some choice vocabulary words. Some of them had 4 letters, some of them had multiple letters, thus and so on and so on and so forth. But ultimately I said, let me just help you help yourself, sir. I said, I don't have a vagina. He just looked at me and said, what? You don't have a vagina? I said, no, I don't have a vagina for you. I got one, but I don't have one for you. So considering that's what you really attempting to get to, you're not really trying to know me. You want vagina. I don't have one to give you. So you need to find somebody else that's willing to offer that product and service for you, sir. And my whole thing when it comes to dating, Rob, AD, Doc, CJ, just be very forthcoming. I like a man who is direct. I have no problem with a direct conversation. Some of these people, they just want to express themselves physically. They really have no intentions of having a relationship. They don't want a relationship. And it's the truth. They want to experience you. They want to physically experience you. Let's just keep it up the whole buck. I'm not going to be offended by you saying, I want to tap that, smash, whatever terminology people use. And then I'm going to politely tell you, thank you, but no thank you, you know. But there's somebody else, some other woman who will be like, oh, I'm down. Let's go on and get it in. So it is what it is. When it comes to, do we have to lay together to stay together? At the end of the day, after the dust settles and all the smoke clears, let's just be real. We're designed for each other. We're designed to copulate. Our bodies are even physically structured to come together. We're literally physically designed to boop. So at some point, there is going to be that connection. Now, either it's going to be with him or with somebody else. But I like what Rob talked about with it is an apprehension because of something that happened to you back in 82, 84, 86, 95, 2015, 2017. We have to really, women, we got to really, really take control of our now moments and enjoy our life now as opposed to what has been. We have such a horrible tendency to stay focused on what happened yesterday. Well, Jack messed me up, so I'm abstinent now. I'm not sleeping with nobody else because Jack did this. That's not a good reason not to have sex. A great reason not to have sex is because you want to get to know you. You want to dig deeper into your womanhood. You want to dig deeper into your psyche. You want to dig deeper into identifying who lives on the inside of you. That's a great reason to say, hey, I'm just choosing to kind of fall back a little bit, chill for a minute, because I don't know me. I don't know what I really want. I don't know what I really like. I don't know what I really enjoy. That's a great reason to fall back because that way you can keep the confusion out. You can keep your psyche clear. You can keep your emotions intact. You can address all that internal stuff that needs to be addressed. But because somebody did this, that, and that back whenever they did whatever, you got to address those issues before you start connecting with anybody's son. Because that's not going to give him a fair opportunity at a chance with you as the woman, you as a woman, him getting a chance to say, you know what, I want this woman. Because that woman that's beat up, battered, whatever's going on the inside, we have to deal with this stuff. And we have a horrible tendency not to. Then we try to punish somebody else or discipline somebody else for some dysfunction that has nothing to do with them at all. They don't know what you're talking about. I wasn't there. I don't know. My name is not Jack. My name is John. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know why. I don't know that you was divorced. You had 5 husbands before me. I don't know nothing about that. I wasn't there. I wasn't present with you. So I think women have a challenge with living in the now, this right now moment. This is where I am right now, not what happened yesterday. That's something that we as women are challenged with. I coach about this all the time, and it is an issue that we have, not being able to just separate what was yesterday, what is today. we don't have tomorrow yet. We got to deal with what's right now in our face in this particular moment. So we're gonna head over to AD because I know AD wanted to put a spin on it. We got about 26 more minutes because we normally go between 60 to 90 minutes and we'll be out for the night. But AD, go ahead with your spin.
Well, the spin was, it comes from my personal experience in the past. I've actually been in a dating relationship, long-term dating relationship, and because of health reasons, going just to the core of that just the first part of the question, do we have to lay together to stay together? And because of medical issues, that was taken out, sex was taken off the table. And so, in the midst of dating, we may have started off, swinging from the chandeliers, but then, came life, and it was a matter of, we can't, that's off the table now. So now what? And my answer is you actually can. You can. I believe if you really have connection with someone, if you really love them, and it's not just about the groceries, the goodies, and all that good stuff. I do believe that you can be together and sex is not on the table because women, as a coach, and obviously there are a number of coaches and therapists on tonight. When we coach our clients, I will go so far as to say that 90% of my female clients have been molested, raped, had some type of violation, trauma throughout their childhood or at some point in their life. And all of that stuff comes into play. So when you look at all of those different dynamics, I think, brothers, we can be in a relationship and sex is not on the table if you care for them, if you've allowed yourself, one, to understand, and two, to acknowledge the connection that you really, really have with somebody.
I agree. In 2019, my husband was admitted for something happened with his blood pressure, and he was admitted. Well, the medicine that they gave him actually put him into cardiac arrest. We were in the prime of our ministry in Las Vegas, Nevada. Most of them are on here now yelling at me or texting me. But I didn't know what I was going to do. 20 plus years of marriage. What am I going to do? I don't know. He gets eventually out of the hospital, out of ICU. He died twice, came back. He gets out. He did not work for 2 years. Watch this. It is very important because there's some women on here that actually need to hear this story. I don't know why, but it didn't stop me from being his wife or from becoming the sole provider. It didn't stop me at all because I loved him in spite of everything else that was going on. When you really have intimacy, when you really have, which we all agree is not always sexual, right? So what is the capacity that you have for the person that you love? It should be beyond laying together to stay together. Yes, of course we want to lay together. I went a year and a half married, preaching, going all over the country, writing, singing, doing all of that, managing. But it never stopped me in coming back home to what I loved, because I knew, number one, that I trusted God, and number two, that our marriage was not conducive. Our relationship was not conducive on whether or not we slept together. And then we learned to grow together. It was so much more than I had ever. It's probably what I think that's Latricia Davis went through before she got married, right? So she was talking about the dynamics before she got married, waiting, holding back. Well, that dynamics happened to me after I got married. And it was the most amazing thing. I even called Precious. I said, "Hey man, you better get, I'm about to lose it." And she said, "You got this." Because my brother passed away and she raised my niece and nephew. And so she encouraged me, "Hey, you got to keep going. You've been too far. You got too much going on." So I don't think that we have to stop growing and laying together. I'm with Doc. What happened to laying together without having sex? I was able to hold him. I was able to look at him a different way. We were able to go out to eat and just watch each other and look into each other's eyes and I'm talking about, it was better than the sex, actually. And he's good. Don't get me wrong. And I'm good too. I know I am. But, but that didn't matter at that time. Right? What mattered at that time was living in the moment. Me being a woman at that moment, and what did me being a woman look like? Because I used to go in the mirror and say, "Do he still look at me?" I don't know, because everything that's going on medically, right? So you're still wondering, am I still cute? Do I need to change my hair today? Did he need, so, but it was amazing. My point is, it was amazing, and nothing stopped us. As a matter of fact, we are a dual team that is taking this country by force. So I do believe that you can stay together without laying together. I yield the floor.
See, and then I look at it kind of different. You have to make sex a priority in your relationship, but it has to be more than that, right? Because when you have sex, you're saying your passion for each other grows, your testosterone grows for man, estrogen grows, you're not so stressed, you're more relaxed. You know what I'm saying? You're able to hear one another on a different level, right? So, but you also have to be able to connect and have that talk, because some of the best pillow talk is after that good, bump and grind. You sitting there talking to each other, expressing each other's thoughts and your feelings and your wants and your desires. Of course, there's times that you may not be able to have sex. Someone can get sick. Someone can, have a condition. But that's where the growth comes. That's where the connection comes from. So it's more, but also everybody wants to be desired. Right? Everybody wants to be wanted. A sexless marriage, right, is anytime somebody has sex one time or less a month. And those are times when somebody is walking out the other door, checking somebody else, feeling bad about themselves, causes depression. All these things come from a sexless relationship or a sexless marriage, right? But then I'm going to say one more thing before I let it go. So ladies, so you waited this time, you meet Mr. Right, y'all dated, y'all booed up. He's man, he waiting for me, man. That's my love thing, right? So the night comes, you get married, you go up to the room, you getting all sexy for him, and he gets undressed and he pulls out a winky. What y'all gonna do then? Once he pulls out this bad boy, what are y'all gonna do then? You wanted to, so now you got this coming to you.
Pulled out a Vienna sausage. What in the ham fat just happened to the show?
A whole Tootsie Roll.
A whole Tootsie Roll. Look, a whole.
Now where'd the love go?
Now the little one.
Where's my thumbtacks?
The little Tootsie Roll.
Oh, not the Tootsie Roll.
Oh my God. No. Rob Malloy, help me out. I don't know what just happened. We was all right, Rob.
I'm sorry, Doc, but I can't even answer your question. I really can't.
Love, y'all in love now. Remember, it's deeper now.
I'm done.
It's interesting. A lot of times you don't learn about what people valued or what was important to them in a relationship until after that relationship is over, or when they decide not to be in that relationship and they check out. Then all of a sudden, they're willing to share what their needs are. Like Doc said, well, he didn't desire me, or he didn't tell me I was beautiful, or she didn't make me feel like I was the man, and those type of things. And so I think it's unfortunate, but all in all, Lady Rob, I appreciate you sharing that story, because a lot of people needed to hear that. They needed to know that you have to have a foundation, right? And that foundation, it has to go beyond the physical, because if you want longevity, before the show, I was telling AD and Coach Koffe that, my parents are 78 and 80 years old, and they've been married for over 40. I'm 46, so older than me. And, and so we'll be celebrating their birthday next weekend. And I know they ain't doing nothing. I'm putting their business out there. Hey, I know they ain't, but
I don't know what they doing.
I know they ain't doing nothing. Right?
I don't know what they doing.
They ain't doing nothing. I'm joking, but the intimacy, the way that they love each other, is so evident. Just the way that they look at each other, just the way they talk smack to each other. It's like they have something so special to where they don't even have to literally be in the same room, and that they love each other. And, that's something that I desire, definitely, and it's something I can appreciate. But again, I know that the foundation has been there. Like I don't know what was going on before me, but as they was coming up and as they was married and things like that, I asked my mom on her birthday, why you married this brother? What was it about this brother? And one of the things that she said is he looked good in a suit. He's retired Navy, right? She said he looked good in a suit and he was a good provider. Those were the two things that she ain't say nothing about. He had a nice afro. His beard was on point. She said that, he was a provider. And, so that just let me know that it was some things beyond the physical. And then, sometimes people come into your life and you learn from them. And it's things that you didn't even know that you needed. And so, that's just the beauty of development and growth. And if you can't be with somebody that you can learn from, then I don't see the point.
Rob, that was so good. Thank you for sharing that, because it reminded me of my grandparents who were married 60 years. And when my grandfather was in the hospital, she was like, you owe me 60 years. And so she climbed up on top of him in the hospital bed and started kissing him. Now, we were all disgusted and grossed, but it was the cutest thing because that's what they do. And even in their 80s, I'm like, she climbing on top of the hospital bed, kissing him, saying, no, you owe me 60 years and you're going to get up from this bed and you're going to come home. And guess what he did? He got up from that bed and he was home in 2 days, right? And so they celebrated 60 years of life. But what I learned from her is even in those moments when they would do things like going to the movies and they would sit and talk and have tea, or she would just lay her head on his chest while they were watching the movie. Those were the moments that I desired to have. And I knew that in order to get those 60 years, that I had to build a foundation on friendship, a foundation on trust, a foundation on truth. And one of the things I'll tell any woman who is in waiting, because there may be just a few of us left out here in this world, but I will tell them that it is worth the wait. He is worth the wait. That moment, those intimate moments that will come along the journey is worth the wait. The most beautiful thing that I learned about my husband as he was courting me and loving me and showing me God's love here on earth, he said, I am here to love and to cherish you. That's why I married my husband. It was because of how he loved me. And I knew that I said, if I'm going to experience God's love, I need to be in God's presence. And I said to myself, I will know that this is my husband because when I am with him, I will feel like I'm in the presence of God. My husband was a worshiper. My husband loved God. He was in service. I didn't know who he was going to be. I didn't know who God had prepared for me, but I was preparing for the best possible person that God could have for me. And guess what? God said, because I can trust you in the preparation, I can trust you with my gift. There are some women who, if you wait, I promise you that if you position yourself, like Koffe was saying before, to get to know yourself, I got to know me. I learned about all that I desire. I learned what were non-negotiables in my life because I took the time to heal. I took the time to develop. I took the time to grow and mature so that I could appreciate the kind of love that my husband was going to give me and that he continues to give to me. Every single time I do something, before I go out, before I go minister, before I go on a stage, before I turn the camera on, I go to my husband, we pray he releases me, and that's a whole nother conversation. But he kisses me on my forehead and he says to me, baby, you were born for this. There is someone who needs to hear your story. And no matter how unique it is or extreme it may be, God has set you up to be able to help someone so that they can experience the same kind of love that you're getting from me. And so that's what I want to encourage. That intimacy is developed. The most beautiful part of waiting for us was we got to experience each other in creative ways. We learned what intimacy would be. And so, faced with adversity, faced with any challenges or any of those things, I believe that we have a foundation that is strong enough to get us through that. So I just wanted to encourage somebody.
I love it. And I will say this, the Thumbtack Ministries, we rebuke it. We don't receive it. We don't accept it. No tax and thumbs and no. The devil's a hot lie from hell. We're not receiving it. I'm stuck on that. I can't even think straight no more. Latricia, I heard everything you said, but my brain was just like, thumbtacks, permanent Thumbtack Ministries, forever, ever.
It's not gonna happen. Let the thumbtack not go. But Latricia, if I had an offering plate, I would have passed it to you and to Doc up here at the top. I would have gave y'all offering tonight. I'm just letting you know. I would have gave y'all an offering. Come on,
Oh
Jesus.
my God.
I'm trying not to speak in tongues. That's why I keep muting myself. Y'all go ahead on.
Hilarious. But you know what? This has been an amazing conversation. We're going to go ahead and wrap up for tonight. It is later on the East Coast than it is over here on this side of the world and all that kind of stuff. So we know that, we want to go ahead and knock off for tonight. And then we will definitely be back and have another conversation. This has been extremely beneficial to a lot of people. I am getting a ton of messages. I'm going to have to charge my phone because it keeps popping in my phone. It pops up on my phone. I'm like, dang, why my phone what in the heck? So we've gotten a lot of feedback from people. Rob, I had a couple DMs. People asked, are you available? I said, no, he's not available. No, he's not up. He's not up for grabs. No, I'm his PR person. No. But this has been an awesome conversation. We're still live in Clubhouse. We'll be in there for about another 15, 20 minutes or so before we wrap up the Clubhouse room. But listen, guys, if you want to connect with any of these amazing leaders that you see on tonight, as soon as we wrap up the live stream, their contact information will be inside of the chat and you can connect with them. Make sure you're following them on all social media platforms. If you want to communicate with them more about relationships, we do have some amazing coaches that are on the platform tonight and people that are doing some absolutely incredible things in the space of love and relationships. Everybody on here is absolutely incredible and doing some awesome things. And so I'm excited that we were all able to hop on to get together tonight. This was an amazing conversation tonight. So I really appreciate everybody being here. CJ, again, congratulations on your brand new nuptials. Got a brand new bride over there that he over there enjoying and whatnot and thus and so and everything. And I'm excited that Dr. Adrian has recovered. He was going through some sickness. So I'm just glad that you are fully recovered. And tell your wife that we just love her because she really is the real MVP, period. She the real MVP, period. But we will definitely be back in the hot seat on next Tuesday night. You guys already know how we do. It's going to be popping. It's going to be crack-a-lacking. And it's definitely going to be thought-provoking. But until next time, grace, peace, and blessings to each and every one of you that tapped in on tonight. Make sure you like and go ahead and spread this wealth. Even after the segment is off, you can still share it to your community so they can hear this conversation. I love it because we always want to get different schools of thoughts and different perspectives. We all do not think alike, but we all have the same destination in mind. That is mutual love, freedom, and respect as it pertains to relationships. So this has been a great conversation, a dope connection on tonight. And we will definitely be back at the same bat time, same bat channel on next Tuesday night. Until then, grace, peace, and blessings. And remember, this is the year of double shalom. And we'll see you guys again soon. Good night, everybody.